Maybe it's the way that you're watering, or maybe it's the type of soil you're using. Maybe it's the type of fertilizer you're reapplying, or maybe it's the pests that are attacking your plants. It could be any number of things. But whatever it is, you just know it's not working anymore. You need to try something new. There's no better time to start than right now. The good news is, you don't have to be a pro gardener to have success. In fact, you don't even have to have a green thumb. All you need are the fundamentals. And once you get those down, there's no telling how far you can go. You might start out just wanting to grow a few herbs on a windowsill. Then after a season or two, you might want to take on something a little bigger, like an entire vegetable garden. Or maybe you'll decide to start growing your own flowers. Maybe you'll even decide to start growing food for your friends and your neighbors. There's no limit to how far you can go with gardening. It's all about starting small and then building from there, learning from your successes, and more importantly, from your failures. Because let's face it, we've all been there before. We've all had our share of epic fails. But that's okay, because every epic fail is just another excuse to learn, to adapt, and to improve. And the great thing about gardening is that it's completely customizable. It's completely up to you where you start and how fast you grow, no pun intended. Some people might start out with a single tomato plant and a couple of herb pots. Other people might start with a raised bed or a couple of containers. Some people might even start with a small greenhouse. It's all good because you can start wherever you want. You can work with what you've got. You can use whatever space you have available, and you can grow at whatever pace you want. Because in gardening, it's not about where you start, it's about how you start. And the most important thing to remember is to just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, because in the end, that's what it's all about. It's about being able to look back and say, hey, I did this, and this is what I learned, and this is how I grew. So tell me, what level are you at right now? You just starting out, or have you been at this for a while? Either way, you're at the right place. I can help you reach the next level. So follow along, and let's grow something great together. Are you ready to learn everything there is to know about gardening? In just 10 minutes, whether you've never grown a plant or you've been gardening for years, this 10-minute guide will take you from basics to pro-level skills, step by step. Let's start at level 1 and work our way to level 4 mastery. Level 1, beginner basics. Planting and watering. Goal. Successfully plant seeds and keep them alive. Key points: choosing easy plants, reading a seed packet, proper watering. Most vegetables and flowers need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight each day. Radishes, marigolds, and basil are easy to grow and look great. Seed packet will tell you how deep to plant your seeds and how far apart to space them. Follow the instructions on the back. Don't overwater. The best advice we can give is to water deeply and less often rather than a sprinkle every day. That way roots will grow strong and your plants will be happy. Level 2, the art of sunlight and soil. Goal: understand how sunlight and soil affect plant growth. Key points: types of sunlight, soil basics. Not all sunlight is created equal. Some spots get full sun, meaning they receive direct sunlight most of the day. Other spots might receive bright indirect light, and some areas might only get a few hours of sunlight. Choose plants that are suited to the amount of sun your garden receives. Most vegetables and flowers need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, but herbs like mint and parsley tolerate shade. As for soil, most plants prefer a well-draining soil that's rich in organic matter. This means the soil drains water easily and is full of nutrients. You can improve your soil by adding compost or other organic matter like decomposed granite or even kitchen scraps. Level 3, nurturing growth. Goal: keep your plants healthy. Key points: weeding, fertilizing, pest control. Now that your plants are off to a strong start, it's time to keep them happy and healthy. Get in the habit of removing weeds, which are unwanted plants that compete with your veggies for water and nutrients. Hand weed or hoe your garden regularly, especially when the soil is wet. Because weeds spread by seed, it's important to remove them before they have a chance to flower and set new weeds. To keep your plants happy and productive, feed them with a fertilizer made for vegetables or flowers. Follow the instructions on the package. Different plants have different needs. Some veggies, like tomatoes and peppers, need more phosphorus for strong flowers and fruits. Others, like lettuce and spinach, prefer more nitrogen for lush leaves. Natural fertilizers like compost or manure often have the right balance of nutrients. To prevent pests and diseases, pick pest-resistant plant varieties when possible. Inspect plants regularly for signs of trouble and treat problems early. For example, treat a few pests right away rather than waiting for a full-blown infestation. Level 4. Pro-level propagation and protection. Goal: learn how to propagate plants and protect your garden. Key points: taking cuttings, protecting from the elements. At level 4, you're ready to propagate or make more plants from your favorites. Take cuttings from a healthy plant and place them in water or soil. Be patient. It might take a while for the cutting to root. You can also start a new plant from seed. There are so many types of plants to choose from. Have fun experimenting with your favorites and trying new ones. To protect your plants and garden, consider building or buying a cold frame or a row cover. These structures provide extra warmth and can extend your growing season. Cold frames are great for starting seeds early in the spring or for overwintering tender plants. Row covers are good for protecting crops from insects, birds, or even frost. Healthy soil means healthy plants, and healthy plants are much more resistant to pests and diseases. We grow lots of vegetables, and we don't use any pesticides or herbicides. The key to our success is healthy soil. This is level 2 of our gardening course. In level 1, we learned how to start seeds indoors. In this level, we're going to learn about soil health and some common pests and how to deal with them. By the end of this level, you'll know how to build healthy soil so your plants will thrive. You'll also know how to spot, identify, and get rid of most common pests by hand. And we'll talk about companion planting, which is a great way to naturally prevent many pest problems. Let's get started. There are 3 main ingredients to compost. It's easy to make, and you probably have most of what you need right at home. All you need is a bucket with a lid, like this 5-gallon bucket. Kitchen scraps like vegetable peels and coffee grounds, these are called greens. The second ingredient is brown stuff like dried leaves and twigs. These provide carbon and balance out the nitrogen in the greens. You'll also need a way to chop up your scraps. Simple way is to just use your hands. But a tool like this makes it faster and easier. Greens and browns, when combined and chopped up, make a great fertilizer and soil amendment. It's called compost. Now let's talk about testing your soil's pH. Testing your soil's pH once a season will help you make adjustments, so your plants have the best chance to thrive. You can buy a fancy meter like this one, or you can use a simple kit like this. This is a pH test strip. To use it, just stick it in some soil, water, and then compare it to the chart. This will tell you if your soil is too acidic or too alkaline. Most vegetables prefer a slightly acidic soil, around 6.0 to 6.5. If your soil is too acidic, you can add lime to raise the pH. If your soil is too alkaline, you can add sulfur to lower the pH. Now let's talk about pests. Most pests can be identified by looking closely. Hand-removing pests is the best way to deal with them. Don't worry, it's not as hard as it looks. Take your time and look closely. Aphids are small, soft, squishy insects that suck the sap out of plants. Caterpillars eat the leaves of plants. They can roll up into a little ball when they feel threatened. Hand-picking these pests is the best way to get rid of them. Once you've removed the pests, you can just squish them. It feels good. Companion planting can help prevent many pest problems. Planting flowers that attract pollinators and beneficial insects can help control pests naturally. Some examples include planting dill to attract ladybugs or planting marigolds to repel nematodes. Remember, healthy soil means healthy plants, which means less pest problems. So start a compost pile, test your soil's pH, and plant some companion flowers. You'll be a pro in no time. So at level 3, we're ready to take things to the next level. And this level is all about thinking like a farm manager. We want to maximize our harvest, and we want to avoid depleting the soil of any one particular nutrient. So what we're going to do is rotate our crops. Okay, so I have a little diagram here. It's not to scale, but it should give you the general idea. So I've got 5 beds here, and I'm going to be rotating my crops yearly, making sure that I don't plant 2 crops from the same family in the same bed year after year, because when I do that, I'll start building up pests and diseases that are specific to that family. For instance, if I plant potatoes 2 years in a row in the same bed, I'm going to have a buildup of a pest called the Colorado potato beetle. Also, the soil might start to develop a disease problem. So the way that I combat that is by rotating through these different families every single year. So this year I have tomatoes in here, right? But next year I'm going to plant something else. Maybe I'll plant lettuce. And then the year after that, I'll plant something from the gourd family, maybe a summer squash. And then the year after that, I'll plant root crops like carrots or potatoes. And then I'll top it off with a legume like field peas. And then I can start the cycle all over again. Now that's the ideal situation. But here's the thing. Not all of us have the luxury of time and space to do that. So I'm going to show you a little trick here. You can actually grow 2 crops at the same time. So right now I have lettuce. Lettuce is going to grow quickly, right? It's going to mature in about 50 days. But I also have tomatoes. Tomatoes take a little bit longer. They take about 80 days to mature. It's too long for me to wait in between crops. So what I do instead is I just plant something else right alongside the tomatoes. So I have carrots here. Carrots take about 75 days to mature. So by the time the tomatoes are ready to harvest, the carrots are almost ready to harvest as well. Or I could even plant something that grows a little bit quicker, like radishes. Radishes are like 30 days to maturity. So I can plant radishes right alongside tomatoes and get a double whammy. The other thing that you can do is plant things in succession. So as soon as this lettuce here is ready to harvest, I'm going to cut the heads, right? But I'm also going to cut the outer leaves and just keep on growing it. I'm going to keep on harvesting the outer leaves until the very end when the head is ready to harvest. And then I'm going to replant more lettuce. In fact, I'm going to replant more lettuce right alongside the existing lettuce. I'm just going to keep on planting lettuce until the very end, and that way I have a continuous harvest, and that's it. That's how we take things to the next level. We start thinking like a farm manager. We think about crop rotation. We think about succession planting, planting multiple crops at the same time, mixing our quick growers with our slow growers. And that way we can maximize our harvest and make sure that we not depleting the soil of any particular nutrient. This is level 4, professional. It's about microclimate and precision growing. It's 7:30 to 9:30. What's the goal? To optimize the conditions in your garden to maximize your yield and quality. How do you do it? You become a microclimate detective. Pros read their garden like a map. They identify the microclimates, those sun pockets, wind breaks, and frost pockets. And then they use them to their advantage. Cool-loving crops go in the shade, and heat-loving crops go in the full sun. You can also use row covers, shade cloth, or cold frames to extend your season. And don't forget, the pros track their data, their harvest weights, and their planting dates. And they use that data to make improvements year after year. So what does a professional's garden look like? It looks like this. It's a spreadsheet, baby, with rows and columns and numbers. It looks like this. Whether you're a brand new gardener or you've been at it for a while, I know you want to improve your garden and your skills. And I have a simple system to help you do that. Start by getting your hands dirty and learning the basics. The fundamentals of soil health, water, light, and nutrients. Once you understand those, you can start to build on them. Add in some plants. Start small. Maybe just a couple of herbs or a small vegetable garden. As you gain experience, you'll learn what works and what doesn't. You'll learn about pests and diseases and how to deal with them naturally. You'll learn how to propagate plants and start from seed. And as your skills grow, so will your garden. And before you know it, you'll be harvesting an abundance of fresh, delicious food from your very own garden. So tell me, which level are you at right now? And I'll help you get to the next one. Follow along for more tips.